welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Centrovert. Okay, so today in this video, we're going to discuss what I call a lost scent. This is part of my lost scent series where I will talk about a fragrance that has been discontinued, that has either been forgotten, and just in general, fragrances that maybe are not talked about anymore given the current trends that are on the market. And then I'm also going to, of course, try to tell you how to find a scent like this in a different fragrance, right? So find you similar scents that you can actually get on the market right now if you want to smell this fragrance that has either been discontinued or is hard to get. So in today's episode, we're going to quickly discuss Armani Attitude, which I actually got a decant for. Armani Attitude, I honestly happened to smell this fragrance by accident. But let me just first say, it was launched in 2007. It is discontinued now. This fragrance though, one of the reasons why I knew, after I smelled it and trying to do research on it, one of the reasons why I knew this fragrance was something that shouldn't have been discontinued is the 3 perfumers who did this fragrance. We're talking about an all-star lineup of perfumers behind this fragrance. Anique Menardo, Alberto Marias, and Olivier Cresp. If you know fragrances, or if you've ever, looked into fragrance databases online, you've probably heard of those 3 names before. Or if you don't know who those names are, then you definitely probably know a fragrance that each of these perfumers have put out before. For example, Anique Menardo has put out Bulgari Black, Hockey Puck, this fragrance right here, Hockey Puck car tire type fragrance that I reviewed in a previous episode, which you can access in the link to their top left, one of these top left or top right corner here. She did this scent, which is a beautiful scent, which if you don't have Midnight in Paris or don't want to spend the money to buy Prada Luna Rosa Black, you can get this fragrance if you want a similar scent as those two. Alberto Marias did a lot of, he was a perfumer behind a lot of fragrances, but obviously the most popular one he's done is Acqua di Gio, right? The original Acqua di Gio. And then Olivier Cresp has done also many popular fragrances. Yeah, so the most notable one to me under his catalog would probably be Black Excess, right? By Paco Rabanne. And he has a bunch of others that he's been involved in. It looks like most of his catalog is for fragrances for women, but he has a lot of, and he's also worked on Versace Mano Fresh for men. So yeah, he's had a lot of, so much more I'm leaving out there, but he has a lot of popular scents under his name as well. So they all 3 combined to put out this fragrance, which is no longer on the market. And I can't, I don't know why it has been discontinued, but I will tell you, what I think of this fragrance when I just, accidentally happened to come upon it. So there's a drugstore in the local mall I go to that has, a lot of typical designer, bread and butter, typical designer, popular designer fragrances. And for some reason, they had Armani Attitude just sitting there amongst the current releases, right, in the market. They had this Armani lighter, right? It's like a cigarette lighter, just sitting there. And it stood out, just the bottle itself stood out, right? But when I sprayed it, man, the opening for this fragrance it stood out so much that I wanted to buy the fragrance right there in the spot, which is something I usually don't do. I don't usually buy fragrances in the store, like in the department store or drugstore. I usually try to find it discounted on reliable online discounters, but I wanted to buy it right there because that opening was beautiful. It's a mixture of coffee and lemon, but it smells almost like a Amen by Terry Mugler smell, where it's almost like it has like a bit of a cigar feel to it. Coffee, obviously has coffee in it, but that's like a cigar tar, kind of like a very masculine smell, but it doesn't go as aggressive in that tar cigar type smell as Amen does. It actually kind of stops short with the lemon, and that combination, which is really two contrasting smells, gives a very beautiful smell that's very distinct. And it's something that, for someone like me anyways, with the fragrances that I've smelled so far on my journey, it's something that I don't know if I smelt exactly before. And it's a beautiful smell, man. It's very masculine. So, like I said, I wanted to buy it right there in the store, but they wouldn't let me because it was a tester bottle and the fragrance was discontinued. They weren't even allowed to have it out on display in the first place, right? And because there was no barcode on it, they couldn't sell it to me. But I was persistent, so I just asked them to decant it for me for free. And so I tested it a little bit. Not too much, so this is not going to be a full-on review, but basically it's a beautiful smell. It's a beautiful fragrance that starts off with the coffee and lemon beginning, like I said, and then as it begins to dry down, the coffee kind of recedes in the background, and then lemon moves a little more into the forefront with a patchouli and lavender coming in. Lavender adding that kind of clean barbershop smell, and that along the lemon creates a very interesting dry down that is absolutely exquisite, especially if you spray it on paper, I found, but it's still very good on skin as well and clothes. But that dry down with the lavender, the lemon, and a little bit of coffee and patchouli kind of in the background, it's a beautiful dry down. But where could you find this fragrance now that it's been discontinued? I mean, now if you try to look for it on eBay, it's going for like almost $200 based on some of the prices I've seen, and that's US. So imagine what it would be in Canadian dollars. It's very expensive now. So if you wanted to get a similar smell, apparently there is a fragrance by Baldessarini, the house of Baldessarini, and the fragrance is called Secret Mission. That runs pretty cheap on the market for like nothing more, I think, than $35 or nothing more than 40. However, the clone, I should say, of this now discontinued fragrance that I happened to discover is from the independent but popular house of Alexandria Fragrances. And I'm sure anybody who's into fragrances knows this house. They are a house, independent provider, independent perfuming, independent fragrance house based in California. But the owner of the house is a native of North Africa, specifically Egypt. Hani Hafez. Basically, this house specializes in putting out niche perfumes or niche fragrances that tend to clone original niche perfumes, right? And they put out a scent for Armani Attitude that's inspired by Armani Attitude. That looks like it's going to be a clone of my Armani Attitude called Egyptian Attitude. And the notes are pretty much exactly the same based on what I've seen on their website. So I ordered the bottle, and I'm gonna be doing a unboxing of that bottle once it comes in the mail, along with other samples of other scents from Alexandria Fragrances that I ordered, because I really wanted to try this house. Because for guys who are on a fragrance, who are on a budget, don't want to spend too much money on niche perfumes that cost $300, $400, this house, Alexandria Fragrances, allows you to try niche-like perfumes, niche-like fragrances for nothing more than $100. which is, or even less than that, which is pretty reasonable. Canadian, I mean. Obviously, if you talk about US, it's like 60, 62 bucks. Nothing more than 65, I think I've seen on their website. So once I close the bell, I'll do an unboxing video and I'll give you guys a review of that fragrance. But so far, those are the two fragrances on the market that I mentioned that are available if you want to get a smell or a fragrance that's similar to the now discontinued Armani Attitude. So that's been my talk of this lost scent, Armani Attitude. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do more videos about scents like this. Like, subscribe, holla back.